Have you ever listened to a song, an old melody from years ago, and suddenly felt goosebumps erupt across your arms, even though the room wasn't cold? Have you ever remembered a specific period in your past so intensely that you felt an overwhelming urge to travel back in time and live there forever, even though, if you're being completely honest with yourself, you weren't even that happy back then? Have you ever found yourself obsessively thinking about one specific person? You check your phone just to see if they've replied to a message, staring at a blank screen, only to frustratedly ask yourself, why am I acting like this? Or perhaps you've been walking alone at night. The street is empty, it's quiet, and then, out of nowhere, you get the distinct, undeniable sensation that someone is watching you. You snap your head around. Nothing, just shadows. The strange truth is, these feelings are not your fault. They are not glitches in your system. They are not signs that your mind is breaking down or that something is fundamentally wrong with your psychology. In fact, it is the exact opposite. These deeply unsettling, bizarre sensations appear precisely because your human brain is working exactly the way it was designed to work over hundreds of thousands of years of brutal evolution. You see, we like to think we live in a world governed by pure logic. But the reality is, we are driving around in biological machines that still carry the primal instincts, fears, and survival mechanisms of our ancient ancestors. Welcome back to Brainosophy Plus. Today, in our third video, we are going to unlock the black box of the human mind. We are going to explore 8 incredibly strange feelings that every single human being experiences, but almost no one can explain. And the first phenomenon on our list might just be the most beautiful glitch of them all. Why does a song have the power to give you the chills? Think about it logically. Music does not feed you. It does not provide you with shelter. It does not protect you from physical danger. Yet, your brain reacts to a beautiful piece of music as if it has just been handed an incredibly valuable prize. Scientists call this phenomenon Frisson, a French word meaning a sudden, passing sensation of excitement, a shudder of emotion. But what is actually happening inside your skull? Your brain is, fundamentally, a prediction machine. It constantly tries to guess what is going to happen next to keep you safe. When you listen to a piece of music, your brain is actively trying to predict the next chord, the next beat, the next lyric. When a song introduces a sudden key change, a massive crescendo, or a breathtaking vocal run that your brain did not predict, but that sounds incredibly beautiful, your brain experiences a moment of profound shock. It realizes its prediction was wrong, but in the best way possible. To reward this discovery of a new, beautiful pattern, your brain floods your nervous system with dopamine. This chemical rush triggers a physical response. Your pupils dilate, your breathing changes, and your hair stands on end. It is the physical manifestation of your brain experiencing sheer awe. But here is where things take a darker turn. Dopamine doesn't just hijack your nervous system through beautiful sounds. Sometimes, the brain uses this exact same chemical reward system on a person. And when that happens, you lose control. You cannot stop thinking about them. You scroll back through old text messages, analyzing every single emoji. You dissect the punctuation. You imagine elaborate, emotional conversations in your head that have never actually happened. And sometimes, if you look closely enough, you realize that you love the version of them that exists in your head much more than the actual, flawed human being standing in front of you. Psychologists have a name for this exhausting state of mind. It is called limerence. Limerence is not love. It is much closer to a psychological obsession. Why do we do this to ourselves? Because the human brain actually finds absolute certainty to be quite boring. The brain doesn't fall in love with the truth. It falls in love with potential. It becomes addicted to the what-ifs. When someone gives you mixed signals when they are warm one day and cold the next, your brain cannot predict the outcome. It goes into overdrive, trying to solve the puzzle of this person. Every tiny bit of positive attention they give you triggers a massive spike of dopamine, reinforcing the obsession. You aren't in love with them. You are trapped in a biological slot machine, pulling the lever, hoping for a jackpot of affection. But if you think your brain lying to you about another person is strange, wait until you see what it does to your own past. Have you ever noticed that your past always looks significantly better in the rearview mirror? Your childhood, your college years, your old friend groups. The days that felt incredibly mundane, stressful, or even painful while you were actually living them suddenly become precious. Golden memories a decade later. This happens because your brain does not store memories like a video camera on a hard drive. Your brain is a master editor. When you recall a memory, you are not replaying the event, you are reconstructing it. And as your brain pieces the past together, it actively blurs out the sharp edges of trauma, stress, and boredom. It highlights the moments of warmth, safety, and connection. This is nostalgia. It is not an accurate historical record. It is a psychological defense mechanism. When your present life becomes overwhelming, chaotic, or uncertain, your brain flips through this heavily edited, photoshopped photo album to comfort you. It creates a warm illusion to remind you that you have belonged before and you will belong again. But here is the ultimate irony. While your brain is busy making your past look perfect to comfort you, it is simultaneously looking at everyone else's present and using it to tear you down. You open social media. Someone is traveling through Europe. Someone just bought a beautiful house. Someone else just launched a successful business. They are living the exact life you feel you were supposed to have. And instantly, a heavy, sinking feeling drops into your stomach. A profound sense of unease. The feeling that you are missing out. To understand FOMO, the fear of missing out, we have to travel back in time. 10,000 years ago, human beings lived in tight-knit tribes. In that brutal environment, being accepted by your tribe was your only guarantee of survival. If you missed out on an important event, if you were left behind by the group, or if you lost your social standing, you would be cast out into the wilderness. And isolation meant certain death. Today, you are perfectly safe sitting on your couch in a modern city. But your ancient brain doesn't know that. When you see others succeeding, bonding, or experiencing joy without you on a glowing screen, your brain's primal alarm bells start ringing. It sends a surge of panic through your body, screaming, "You are falling behind. You are going to be left out of the tribe." FOMO isn't just jealousy. It is the ancient evolutionary terror of being left to die alone. So, what is the solution? To work harder? To finally achieve greatness? You would think that once you reach the top, this fear would vanish. Instead, it mutates into something entirely different. You finally achieve the success you've been chasing. You get the promotion, you build the audience, people look at you with respect and admiration. But instead of feeling a deep sense of pride, a quiet, sinister voice whispers in the back of your mind, "You just got lucky." Everyone is overestimating you. One day they are going to wake up and realize you are a complete fraud. This is impostor syndrome. And the most fascinating thing about it is who it affects the most. It rarely affects the incompetent. It almost exclusively haunts the highly intelligent and the highly successful. Why? Because of a psychological paradox. The more you learn about a subject, the more you realize how incredibly vast that subject is. You become painfully aware of your own limitations. You look around at other experts and assume they know exactly what they are doing, completely unaware that they are feeling the exact same insecurity inside their own heads. Imposter syndrome is the curse of competence. It is your brain's way of keeping you humble, pushing you to never stop learning by perpetually convincing you that you still aren't good enough. Up until now, we've talked about battles fighting inside your own isolated mind. But what if I told you that your emotions aren't even fully yours to begin with? Have you ever walked into a room where two people just had a massive argument? No one is speaking, yet the air feels completely suffocating. Your chest tightens and your mood instantly drops. Or, conversely, you watch a stranger trip and fall in the street, and you instinctively wince, clutching your own knee as if you were the one who hit the pavement. Human beings do not just share ideas, we share nervous systems. Deep inside, our brains are complex networks called mirror neurons. These neurons are designed to literally simulate the emotional states of the people around us. Evolutionarily, this was a superpower. If one member of the tribe sensed a hidden predator and felt sudden terror, the mirror neurons of everyone else would instantly pick up on that fear, allowing the whole tribe to run away before a single word was spoken. We are biologically wired to be emotional sponges. This is called emotional contagion. It is the reason why spending too much time with deeply negative, cynical people will physically drain your energy, and why being around passionate, joyful people makes you feel alive. You are constantly inhaling the psychological exhaust of the people around you, but while we easily absorb the present emotions of others, our brain's true obsession is a timeline that doesn't even exist yet. Think about the last time you had to wait for something terrifying, waiting for the results of a medical test, waiting for a phone call that could ruin your career, waiting outside the door before a massive public speech. The bizarre truth about human psychology is that the event itself is almost never as painful as the time spent waiting for it. The anticipation is agonizing. Why does the brain torture us this way? Because your brain is a relentless simulation machine. When faced with an uncertain future, your mind begins to vividly render every possible catastrophic scenario. It forces you to mentally live through the worst case scenario over and over again. It isn't doing this to be cruel, it is doing this to prepare you. Mother Nature figured out a long time ago that an animal that expects the worst is far more likely to survive than an animal that assumes everything will be fine. We suffer in our imaginations far more than we do in reality, because anticipating pain was the very mechanism that kept our ancestors alive. And it is this exact mechanism, this constant humming radar for invisible threats, that leads us to the final, most chilling sensation of all. You are walking to your car in an empty parking lot. It's late. Suddenly, a cold prickle washes over the back of your neck. Every hair stands at attention. You have an overwhelming, undeniable feeling that eyes are locked onto you. You spin around, your heart pounding in your chest. Nothing. You laugh it off. You tell yourself you're just paranoid. But that feeling was so real, so visceral, it almost felt like a physical touch. This phenomenon is known as the gaze detection system. Humans have an incredibly disproportionate amount of white space in our eyes compared to other animals, which allows us to easily see where someone else is looking. Our brains dedicate a massive amount of neurological processing power simply to track the eyes of others. For millions of years, if you were in the forest and you felt eyes on you, it meant a predator was calculating the perfect moment to strike. If your brain threw a false alarm, the only cost was a moment of panic. But if your brain failed to warn you about a real threat, the cost was your life. Evolution made a calculated choice. It is vastly better to be paranoid and wrong than confident and dead. That eerie feeling of being watched is the ghost of our ancient prey instinct, still trying to keep you safe in the modern world. These 8 strange feelings, from the majestic chills of a beautiful song to the haunting dread of an empty room, might make you feel like your mind is playing tricks on you. They might make you feel isolated, as if you are the only one who thinks this way. But the reality is profound. You are experiencing the echoes of human history. Your brain is not just a tool for logical thought. It is a tireless protector, a curator of memories, a social radar, and an ancient survivor. It lies to you about the past to comfort you. It terrifies you about the future to protect you. And sometimes, in its desperate attempt to keep you alive and connected, it creates bizarre, inexplicable feelings that we are only just beginning to understand.